so pretty. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. But we don't talk anymore. Today's video is very different from my previous videos. I will be talking about eating disorders, body dysmorphia, body image in general, as well as addiction and sexual assault. So if you feel that you may be triggered by any of these topics, please click away from this video. It's more important for you to take care of yourself and take care of your mental health. So again, if you feel like you are going to be triggered by any of the things that I mentioned before, please click away from this video. Okay, let's get started. So in a few of my previous videos, I've talked about body image, specifically in the acting and modeling industry. We all know that we are constantly bombarded by the media to look a certain way, fit a certain body type, have a certain number that's on the scale, and we are constantly eating up this kind of propaganda. As a kid, I remember my mom and my grandmother always being on different diets and complaining about their looks and complaining if they gained weight. As a kid, you absorb everything. So I think it's really important to be aware of how you talk about yourself, specifically around children. If you talk about yourself negatively, kids are just going to listen to that and automatically put that upon themselves or put that upon other people. I was associated, okay, gaining weight is bad, dieting is good. And that's just come from growing up with family members with issues with their own body image, as well as the media. I remember back in the day, I would always buy, Star Magazine, Us Weekly, all those magazines. And do you know how many covers of those magazines would be about a certain celebrity's weight loss and her glow up and transformation? Or it would show different celebrities at the beach and would literally be shaming their bikini bodies. If they had cellulite or dimples or hip dips or whatever. That stuff is everywhere, and you're constantly being fed this information that you have to look a certain way in order to succeed in life and have people like you. We are taught that we are defined by our weight and what we look like. I've always had an issue with my own body image. I've always viewed my body negatively. I've always been really, really harsh on myself. I've always had a really negative relationship with food. I remember being as young as 9 years old and counting calories. What child should be counting calories? Like, I understand, if my doctor told me, Laura, you are overweight and it has really negative health repercussions, and if you don't do something about it, you are at risk of this. I understand that. I am absolutely supportive of being healthy and taking care of yourself, but that doesn't reflect your size, the number on the scale, how many inches your waist is, what dress size you are. None of that reflects your health. I have a binge eating disorder. So ever since I can remember, I've always just had a really negative relationship with food. I would really deprive myself of foods that I liked and foods that I enjoyed because most of the time they weren't necessarily healthy. And because I would deprive myself of that and follow this really, really strict diet plan of eating healthy food, I would sort of end up in this phase of, I'm just gonna binge eat all this junk food that I've been depriving myself of. And then I felt awful about myself, and it was like this endless cycle of okay, I have to work out, I have to be skinny, I have to lose weight, I have to eat healthy. Oh my God, I hate this, I've been depriving myself. Oh my God, I'm gonna eat just to make myself feel better. And it was this endless cycle of never loving how I looked like and never being comfortable and confident in my body. even when I was a kid and my doctor was telling me, you need to gain weight because you are underweight. And even though I knew my negative relationship with food, I never really considered it to be a problem. I never really admitted it to myself or anyone else. I think I just kind of normalized it to myself. I wasn't eating because I was hungry. I wasn't eating to nourish my body. I was eating because I was sad, I was angry, I was lonely, I had a bad day, I'm really stressed out, I'm really anxious about something, I'm bored. I don't want to deal with my actual feelings, so I'm just gonna eat all this food to make myself feel better, even though tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and hate myself for it. As a kid growing up, I would have family members sometimes make comments about what I ate. If I was eating something relatively unhealthy, I had family members tell me, or just point it out and be like, oh, well, that's not really healthy. And then I would just feel bad about it, be like, oh, you're right, like, this is a really unhealthy snack. I should feel ashamed for eating this, but I want to eat this. So instead of eating it in front of you, I'm just gonna go eat it in my room. And then that just kind of became a habit of anytime I wanted some sort of unhealthy food, I would have to eat it in private so no one would judge me and no one would shame me for it, so I wouldn't feel ashamed. But no matter what, I'd still feel ashamed after I ate it, woke up the next day. I always felt really crappy about myself because, again, it was just ingrained in my head, like, you should not eat this. This is bad for you. Gaining weight is bad. You are going to gain weight if you eat this. Is it like too dark now? Because the sun's going down. Like I said, I never really acknowledged that it was a problem. I just kind of normalized it in my head. And it was really during this pandemic where I had a lot of alone time. I had time off work and I was just here at home alone day in and day out. And I really got to focus on my mental health. I realized I'm not okay. And so I made an appointment with my doctor and we sat down and we went through a bunch of, I don't know, like mental health questions, because I was genuinely just like, listen, I think I'm depressed. I think I have anxiety. Can you help me figure out if I have this? I answered a bunch of questions and my doctor diagnosed me with body dysmorphia. And as soon as he said that, everything just clicked in my brain and it was just like, of course. And I noticed during quarantine, because I had so much alone time and I was journaling a lot, I was very aware of my thoughts and how I was thinking about myself. And I would catch myself thinking awful things about myself, my personality. Most of the time it was about my body and what I looked like, but just awful things that you would never ever say to anyone, ever. But I was so unaware of how much I was telling myself this in my own head day in and day out. And it was so toxic and so negative. And when I finally allowed myself to be aware of what I was thinking on the daily, it really broke my heart how mean I was to myself. It is a daily struggle for me to really just love myself. YOLO. It's that kind of video, y'all. So my doctor prescribed me with medication. I personally feel like this medication has absolutely changed my life. I've been on this medication for maybe about 5-6 months and I just feel like myself again. And I've noticed I'm just so much more, one, confident in myself. My binge eating has been way more under control. Don't get me wrong, I'm not fixed, I'm not cured. It's not like I wake up every day and I'm like, I am totally 100% comfortable in my body. No. So in my How to Become a Model video, I talked briefly about how I've never been with a modeling agency. And I've talked about my issues with the modeling industry and their beauty standards and their fat phobic body image standards. My own view on my own body image is a big part of why I've never felt comfortable enough to apply to modeling agencies. Even when it comes to acting, I mentioned in my first video how I took my weight off my acting resume, because when casting asks for my weight, I really harbor on that thought. So if I don't book a gig, of course I question, is it because of my weight? If I was skinnier, would I have booked that gig? I need to go home and work out. I need to lose weight. I need to eat healthy up until my next audition. My skill and talent as an actor is the same whether I'm plus or minus 10, 20 pounds. So I really encourage other actors and models to take off your weight from your resume. You have my sizes. My sizes is what you need for wardrobe to dress me. I understand that. You don't need to know how much I weigh. It does not matter. Your weight does not define you. I've also made a point of not having a scale in my house. Literally, if I'm asked my weight, like, I genuinely don't know. As long as I feel good about myself and I am active and strong and healthy, that is all that matters. Okay, now it's like really dark. Can y'all even see me? Whatever. Another thing that I'm going to mention that I think is important to talk about is, oh, I'm so nervous saying this. I never actually publicly said this, but I am a survivor of sexual assault. It is something that I didn't tell anyone about for a very long time. I'm trying not to run from it or hide from it anymore. I am getting more comfortable talking about my experience. It's not this big secret anymore. And that is definitely where my binge eating habits started. Binge eating was my way of dealing with my emotions and my trauma. Obviously, being a survivor of sexual assault is another big reason as to why I've always hated my body, and I've never fully felt comfortable, and I've never felt like my body was my home. And I've struggled for years to just accept this body that I live in. It's taken a long time, and I'm still trying actively to just accept all of me. Just talking about it like this is a really big step for me. Don't get me wrong. Of course, I still have insecurities. Of course, my modeling photos are photoshopped. Of course, my photos I post on Instagram are edited and have filters on them. I am trying my best to accept myself and love myself as I am, but it's really hard. And especially with social media, where everyone's posting this edited best version of themselves and only showing snippets of their life that really is not the full truth. And I know it's hard to remember that at times when you're constantly comparing yourself to other people that you see on social media, but we are all going through our struggles. We are all imperfect. I just want to emphasize to anyone that is going through a similar experience as I am, you are not alone. You are loved, you are important. I see you, I hear you, I believe you. It is really hard to keep something like that bottled up inside. It's hard to keep that to yourself. I encourage you to write about it and talk about it with someone that you care and you trust. And please feel free to reach out to me about it. Thank you so much. Can we not? Thank you so much for listening and watching this video. This is really important to me that you stuck around and watched this, so thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
I want you so bad.